Newark. We're going to get you more information on this as it becomes available. Also, subway service. All the letter lines are running. The number 7 subway line also running. By the way, only emergency vehicles are being allowed into Manhattan.
And this just into 7 World Trade Center, which is the building that is there burning now. We are getting reports that it might have collapsed. It is the building that has been on fire all day long, and we are getting reports that it might have collapsed. Joining us on the phone now is Scott Metso. Scott was actually on the 81st floor at the World Trade Center when this tragedy happened this morning. Scott, are you with us?
I am.
Scott, tell us where you were and what you saw.
I was in One World Trade Center. I was on the 81st floor, the south side of the building. A little before 9, we heard an explosion.
Scott, let me interrupt. You are watching Building 7 at the World Trade Center collapse. That is the collapse of Building 7 at the World Trade Center. Vince Dementri was within a block or two of that just a short time ago, did get out of the way, and told us the firefighters had not been able to fight that fire because of imminent collapse. It has happened. Building 7 now has fallen.
And that is the building, Todd, am I correct in saying, where the emergency management operation was located? Not right now, but...
There have been some reports of that earlier, but it's since been told that's not the case. Again, the mayor and New York City staff going elsewhere to do their emergency management work. But again, that picture you saw just moments ago, Building 7 collapsing at the World Trade Center, that had been something that they've been watching all day. In fact, Paul Florent just told us many hours ago that that building looked to be in danger of falling, as did the Twin Towers.
Scott, we apologize for interrupting, but that was happening right there, and I don't know if you had a chance to look at it. You, of course, went through your own hell earlier today. Go ahead and tell us.
Once the explosion hit, the building swayed pretty violently. We ran to the nearest stairwell. There was fire on the floor in the hallway. There was smoke coming out of the stairwell. We went down about 3 stories. The smoke got thicker. At that point, we turned around, came back up to the floor. We went to the opposite side stairwell, and from there we went down. We had no knowledge that we had no idea what happened. We didn't know the other trade center was affected. Everyone was orderly and cordial, and it took us about an hour to go down the 81 stories, but there was no sense of panic in the stairwell.
Scott, just in hearing what happened today, I thought of my wife, my children, my mother, my sisters. What went through your mind? Who did you think of at the moment you thought that your life might be over?
My 8.5-month pregnant wife, who, while I was in the stairwell and unable to use my cell phone, I kept seeing that the voice messages were increasing. It got up to 11, and even though I was receiving the messages, I wasn't able to make an outbound call. And it's great news that I was okay at that point, but it was sickening not being able to communicate that to her.
It had to be so frustrating.
Yeah.
Scott, you guys finally got out of the building. You said it took about an hour. And what was the time frame from when you got out of the building and when the building actually collapsed?
Within a minute of us exiting, we were on Church Street on the south side, right in front of Century 21. We heard the crumbling of metal, and everyone knew what that sound meant at that point. Everyone ran south, and we were chased by this big cloud of white debris and dust.
So you just barely made it out.
Yes.
You're very calm about this. Has it really hit you yet that you almost lost your life?
No, it hasn't yet, and I guess it concerns me. The whole neighborhood is sitting out in front of our houses now, talking about it. The children are out; they're discussing it, and it will. I just don't know when.
All right, you're watching live pictures now of what's going on down at the World Trade Center. Building 7 at the World Trade Center, a 47-story structure, has just collapsed. You saw it here in CBS2 moments ago. I believe that's down on Vesey Street, and you were looking at a live shot of what's going on there on the street as people hopefully nowhere near that. Again, they've known for hours now that building was in danger. It has burned for hours and finally succumbed to the flames and dropped just like the Twin Towers did. Scott, back to you for a moment.
Okay.
Do you have any idea what happens now with you, with your business? You have any idea what the impact will be?
Unclear. I work for a large company. We do have a disaster recovery plan. It was enacted today. It's a global company. They evacuated the other locations. There were off-site strategy sessions. we are mobilizing very aggressively in order to recover, but the human impact is unknown at this point.
Of course. Scott, as the plane collided with the building, were you about to go into a meeting with your boss, I understand?
No, I was just having a discussion at my desk. I have an office on the south side of the building. I believe the impact zone was on the north side. So, just a string of things that were very fortunate in my favor today.
And everybody on your floor made it out safely? Everyone's accounted for?
We believe so. We think at this point we've accounted for 95% of the people. And again, it was an orderly departure down the stairwell. People weren't passing each other. They were not accelerating their pace. And because I had first gone down the wrong stairwell, I was at the end of the line. So I believe that the 81st floor was evacuated successfully.
It's interesting. You talked earlier with us today about this, the whole idea of how orderly this all was, how helpful people were to each other getting out of the building. Were you struck by that? If I had asked you a day before, do you think there'd be panic and people would be running all over each other to get out of here? Was that what you might have believed might happen?
I would have thought it would, but everyone had the same belief. The conversation in the stairwell was, okay, we understand that there's some impact, there was some explosion, there was some fire. We think the fire is above us. We're now distancing ourselves from it, and there's no way that this building isn't going to stand up. There's no way this building is going to collapse on us, and that's really the concern that would have caused a lot of panic and a lot of frenzy.
Scott Mezzo, we're so happy that you're doing well. We're so happy that you are with your wife again, and everything's going to be just fine, and we wish you a lot of luck as a new dad, too.
Thank you.
God bless
you. Thank you, Scott. We're going to go back to Vince Dimitri now, who is right in the area where Building 7, the World Trade Center, collapsed just moments ago. Vince appears to be getting ready. I want to make sure Vince can hear us. Vince, can you hear us yet? Again, that building collapsing just moments ago, 47 stories down there on Vesey Street. Vince was across the street from that building just moments before it collapsed, and then went ahead and filed a report a few minutes ago telling us about what he saw to be ground zero there. Burned out cars, debris everywhere. Again, you'll take a look at it. Again, this is not one of the Twin Towers. This is a building that fell just moments ago. It had been burning for hours. There's Building 7, 47 stories down to the ground.
But thank goodness Vince had the foresight to move, and we're looking to hear from Vince here.
I think the most eerie thing was to look at the videotape of Vince and his photographer walking around the area and seeing how desolate it was.
Yes.
No bodies,
right.
Burned cars, debris, parts of buildings, not too far away from where they stood, what was one of the towers had been standing. And again, we're waiting for Vince to talk to us, but again, Building 7 has gone down. We should also point out, we believe that firefighters, rescue teams, and police had moved back from that building before what you're about to see again here on videotape, knowing that fire could not be fought because of the instability of the structure, because of the fire that had burned since shortly after 9 o'clock this morning.
Dana Tyler is joining us in the Information Center. She has some new information for us. Dana.
Angela and Todd, as we check how tomorrow will work in Manhattan, specifically Lower Manhattan, we have gotten word that all U.S. markets will be closed again tomorrow. The SEC will announce tomorrow when trading will resume, but at this point it is put at until further notice. The commodities exchange included here, futures exchanges, equities and bonds, and also many businesses, investment firms who had their offices in the World Trade Center as well as surrounding businesses. The World Financial Center, which is along the Hudson River there, that also affected the New York Mercantile Exchange there. They will be closed. And this has an effect worldwide. The London Stock Exchange evacuated its building, moved trading to another spot today. The Toronto Stock Exchange mid-morning ended trading. In Taiwan, they're half a day ahead of us, no business for tomorrow. And the German Stock Exchange evacuated today because of a bomb scare. Also, from business news to boating news here in Manhattan, Spirit boats. A lot of people commute by boat in this area along the Hudson and New York Harbor and East River. Spirit cruises have been working very hard all day. 3 large Spirit boats. These boats can carry 300 to 550 passengers. So far today, they've carried up to 6,000 people, taking them from Chelsea Piers over to Weehawken. People who couldn't get out of Manhattan but needed to get to New Jersey. So Spirit Cruises will continue to offer this service as long as it takes to get through this crisis.